Let's be completely honest with ourselves here, because this is something almost every man over a certain age does without even realizing it. Picture the scene. You're standing in line at your local coffee shop, waiting for your morning roast. Or maybe you're just walking down a crowded city street, completely locked into your own thoughts. Out of nowhere, a younger woman catches your eye. She looks right at you, locks eyes for a split second, and she smiles. It isn't a forced customer service smile, but a genuine, fleeting spark of acknowledgement. What is your immediate knee jerk reaction? Your mind freezes for a microsecond, and your internal radar goes into overdrive. You instantly look behind you to see who she was actually smiling at. You assume there must be a better looking, younger guy standing in your shadow. When no one is there, your brain immediately starts working overtime to rationalize the moment away. You tell yourself she was just being polite. You tell yourself she was daydreaming and looking right through you. You convince yourself that you're just reading too much into a meaningless, random gesture. So you look down, check your phone, and pretend it never happened. You brush it off because you have been subtly brainwashed by a culture that worships youth. As an older man, you've been conditioned to believe a quiet, dangerous lie that you are slowly becoming invisible. You've been told that once your 20 something prime fades, your presence fades along with it. You look at the media, the advertisements, and the social media trends, and you start to believe the spotlight has permanently shifted to a younger generation. You buy into the myth that you've aged out of the game, that your currency has lost its value, and that you no longer have the power to command a room or capture someone's genuine attention. But I am here to tell you that that couldn't be further from the truth, and you need to stop sabotaging your own reality. That smile you just witnessed was not a fluke. It wasn't an accident, a mistake, or a random glitch in her day. It rarely is. While it might not always be a direct romantic invitation to walk over and strike up a conversation, it is absolutely a biological reflex. Human beings communicated through signals for thousands of years before we ever invented formal language. Before we spoke, we signaled. Before we wrote things down, we felt the energy of the people around us. When a younger woman looks at you and smiles, her intuition is responding to something hidden deep beneath the surface of who you are. She isn't measuring you by the superficial metrics of the modern world. She isn't calculating the crispness of your clothes, the perfect symmetry of your face, or whether your style matches the latest online trends. Instead, she is picking up on your masculine gravity. This is an invisible, heavy energy that can only be forged through time, experience, and self possession. It is a magnetic pull that younger men simply cannot replicate, no matter how hard they try, because they haven't lived enough to earn it yet. Women are highly perceptive creatures, and they instinctively respond to a man who moves through the world differently than the frantic, noisy crowd. They notice the man who doesn't constantly chase validation. They see the man who doesn't beg for approval from strangers, who doesn't fidget when things get uncomfortable, and who doesn't feel the need to constantly talk just to prove he belongs in the room. There is an undeniable power in a man who carries a massive story within his silence, a man who is completely at peace with exactly who he is. That is the exact energy she is sensing in that split second, even if she can't articulate it into words herself. Deep down, her instinct recognizes a rare, grounded strength in a world that is completely starved of it. When her lips curve into that brief smile, she isn't just being polite, she is sending a direct, ancient signal of acknowledgement. Her biology is recognizing your depth. In that brief moment, without a single word being spoken, she is firmly stating, I see you, and I feel your presence. The real tragedy is how quickly you let your own insecurity speak louder than the reality of the moment. By instantly dismissing her attention as a fluke, you aren't just ignoring her, you are actively rejecting your own value. You are choosing to play the role of the invisible man because it feels safer than stepping into your own power. You miss the message that you are still vital, still relevant, and still highly impactful. Even in a crowded room packed to the brim with younger, louder men, your quiet depth stands out like a beacon. So, the very next time you catch her glance and see that unmistakable smile, I want you to make a conscious choice to stop rationalizing it away. Do not look behind you. Do not look down at the floor in embarrassment. And do not convince yourself that you're just imagining things. Take the moment in. Don't absorb it with arrogance or a desperate need to immediately turn it into a pickup line, but receive it with a quiet, calm internal recognition. Let it serve as a powerful reminder that you still carry immense weight in this world, that your energy is undeniably real, and that you have officially entered the most potent, respected chapters of your life as a man. As a man accumulates years on this earth, he begins to acquire a specific, invaluable asset that no 20 something can replicate, no matter how much money he has or how hard he tries to fake it. That asset is real, unadulterated experience. But let's be perfectly clear about what we mean here, because this isn't about just stacking up birthdays or collecting a laundry list of old, dusty stories to tell at family dinners. This is about a deep, quiet, invisible growth that happens entirely beneath the surface of a man's life. It is the cumulative weight of the hidden battles you have fought in the dead of night, the devastating failures you had to look square in the eye, and the brutal moments that absolutely shattered you, but ultimately failed to finish you off. You need to understand that real experience isn't just a passive memory lane. It is a raging, violent forge. It is the exact fire that tempers raw knowledge into unshakable wisdom. Think about the nature of a forge. It requires intense heat, heavy pressure, and relentless striking to shape raw iron into a flawless, unbreakable blade. That is exactly what life has done to you. You cannot buy this kind of depth at a store. You cannot find a clever hack for it on the internet. And you absolutely cannot speed run the process. There are zero shortcuts to becoming a truly grounded man. Only the slow, steady ticking of time and the heavy weight of endured pain have the power to shape a man into someone of substance. This long, agonizing process of refinement is the exact thing people, especially perceptive younger women, can sense the absolute second you walk into a room. While the younger men surrounding you are incredibly loud, incredibly flashy, and completely obsessed with showing off their raw, untested potential, you are standing there carrying actual proof. Potential is cheap, and potential is completely unproven. A young man is like raw, unrefined metal. He might look shiny on the outside, but he hasn't been put into the fire yet, so nobody knows if he will snap the moment life gets heavy. You, on the other hand, have already been through the storm, and you survived it. It is time for you to completely reframe how you look at yourself when you stand in front of a mirror. That gray hair emerging on your temples is not a depressing sign of decline or a signal that you are losing the game. It is a biological signature of survival. Those fine wrinkles framing your eyes are not flaws or weaknesses to be hidden. They are the literal pages of an incredible, deeply, deeply respected story written by life itself. When you look at a younger man, you are looking at someone who is still desperately guessing his way through the world, constantly panicking about who he is and what people think of him. But when people look at you, they see a completely different caliber of man. You offer a rare, heavy sense of depth and an intense personal conviction that a younger guy simply hasn't earned the right to possess yet. You don't have to shout to be heard, you don't have to posture to look strong, and you don't have to dance around trying to impress everyone in your vicinity. Your presence speaks for itself because it was paid for in full with years of resilience. You have traded the frantic, insecure energy of youth for the quiet, unyielding power of a man who knows exactly who he is, what he has overcome, and what he brings to the table. Never forget that you are carrying a level of earned authority that youth can only dream of mimicking. We are living in an era that is completely addicted to noise. Everywhere you look, people are desperate for attention, shouting to be heard, posting to be seen, and rushing to keep up with trends that change every single week. It is a world that mistakes volume for value and vanity for power. But in the middle of all this frantic, chaotic clamor, there is a much quieter, far more dangerous weapon: your presence. Being fully present in a world that is constantly trying to distract you is not just a personal habit, it is the ultimate act of rebellion. True, authentic power is never loud, it is never frantic, and it is never looking for a round of applause. It is quiet, it is completely controlled, and more importantly, it is earned. It is that rare, commanding ability to walk into a room, any room, and instantly shift the energy of that space without having to utter a single syllable. People will feel you long before they ever hear you. The problem is that too many men reach a certain age, and instead of seeing the king in the mirror, they only see the reflection of lost years. They get trapped in a losing game, constantly comparing their current lives to the flash in the pan energy of 25-year-olds, operating under the false delusion that youth is the only currency that holds any real value in this world. This is the biggest mistake you can make. When you adopt that mindset, you start to shrink. Your posture suffers, your shoulders roll forward, and you start avoiding eye contact, as if you are trying to make yourself as small and unnoticeable as possible to avoid being judged. You start projecting a desperate, heavy cloud of self doubt that everyone around you can smell instantly. And let me be blunt: nothing in this world repels people faster or more forcefully than a man who has clearly stopped believing in his own worth. When you carry yourself with that kind of doubt, you are sending a loud signal to everyone you meet that you don't belong here, and they will naturally believe you. But you need to realize a hard, liberating truth. The world hasn't actually stopped seeing you. You are the one who has stopped seeing yourself. You have allowed the external world to dictate your value, and in doing so, you have dimmed your own light. You are waiting for society to validate you, but society doesn't validate men. It respects the men who demand respect by the way they carry themselves. The moment you make the decision to stop apologizing for your age and start walking with the dignity of a man who knows exactly who he is, something incredible happens. The entire atmosphere around you shifts. The world is a mirror. If you walk into a room doubting your relevance, the world will treat you as if you are irrelevant. But if you walk into that same room with the calm, steady awareness of a man who has lived, survived, and grown, the world will instinctively get out of your way and grant you the respect you deserve. Dignity is not about what you wear or how much money is in your bank account. It is about how you stand when the world is looking. It is about the way you hold your gaze, the way you speak with intention, and the way you refuse to let your internal confidence be shaken by the opinions of others. When you finally stop trying to mimic the energy of a boy and start embracing the immovable energy of a man, you become an anchor in a room full of people who are drifting. That kind of presence is magnetic, it is undeniable, and it is the only way to truly take your power back. If you take a close look at the lives of many younger men today, you'll see they are caught in a violent, unending storm of personal contradictions. They spend their days chasing cheap thrills and immediate gratification, yet they are paralyzed by a deep-seated fear of real, long-term commitment. They talk a big game about wanting a meaningful life, yet they sprint away the moment genuine responsibility lands on their shoulders. They want the rewards of being a man, but they aren't willing to pay the price of admission. Women, especially those with high emotional intelligence, can smell this lack of foundation from a mile away. They instinctively sense that instability, that frantic, shifting energy that screams, "I don't know who I am, and I don't know where I'm going." It is a major turnoff because it signals a man who is still at the mercy of his own impulses. You, on the other hand, have the opportunity to stand as a quiet, immovable anchor in their lives. While they are still learning how to survive, you have already walked through the fire. You have been tested by the realities of life in ways that a young man simply hasn't encountered yet. Because you have faced the heat and come out the other side, you possess an emotional steadiness that is incredibly rare and intensely magnetic. You don't waver when the pressure starts to mount. You don't fall apart when a crisis hits. And you certainly don't feel the need to rush around trying to impress everyone in the room. You don't have to scramble for attention because you have absolutely nothing to prove. You know what you are capable of, you know your limits, and you know your worth. This is the definition of calm strength. This kind of emotional reliability creates a sense of safety and trust that is far more valuable and intoxicating than superficial things like physical appearance, status, or a high end car. In a world of chaos and unreliable people, being the man who stays centered is a superpower. When you operate from this place of certainty, you aren't just another guy. You become the calm in the middle of the hurricane. It is the kind of energy that draws people in because it promises peace, stability, and a reliable partner in a world that is constantly spinning out of control. Think about it. A man in his 40s, 50s, or even his 60s who makes the effort to keep his body strong, his mind razor sharp, and his spirit disciplined is operating on a level that most young men can't even perceive. That level of self mastery is infinitely more compelling than a boy with a gym sculpted physique and nothing behind his eyes. True attraction isn't just about what someone looks like in the mirror, it's about what they bring to the table when things go wrong. Younger women, in particular, are looking for the man who isn't going to panic. They are looking for the man who has the experience to guide them, the wisdom to listen, and the steady hand to navigate the complexities of life. By choosing to embrace your age as an asset and leading with that quiet, unshakable strength, you become a person that others don't just notice, they respect, they lean on, and they value above all the noise. You have to stop thinking of your life in terms of a expiration date. Too many men fall into the trap of believing that their value is tied to a number, their age, their salary, or the number of years they've been in the game. That is a lie designed to keep you small. Your relevance is not tied to a number, it is tied to your presence. If you move through the world with absolute conviction, if you speak with intent, and if you occupy space like a man who knows exactly who he is, you will never be ignored. You might not get the chaotic, loud, surface level attention that is thrown at the flashiest guy in the room, the guy who is posturing, wearing the loudest clothes, and laughing the loudest. But that is a good thing. That kind of attention is cheap, it is fleeting, and it disappears the moment the room gets quiet. What you will earn instead is something far more powerful: genuine, deep seated respect. And let me tell you, respect is the only form of attention that actually lasts. It is the kind of attention that sticks when the party is over and the real work of life begins. It is time for you to stop hiding behind your excuses and start owning the depth you've built over the years. You have lived through things that would break a lesser man, and that experience is your greatest asset. If you are ready to stop playing small, if you are ready to stop fading into the background of your own life, and if you are ready to stand tall in the man you have become, then you need to commit to this journey right now. Hit the like button to signal that you are done with the self doubt and that you are finally ready to own your story. Subscribe to the Stoic Spirit and make sure you turn on those notifications because the content we are building here is designed specifically to keep you sharp, focused, and moving forward. We are building a brotherhood of men who don't need validation because they have already found their own strength. Don't just watch this and walk away. Take action. I want you to head down to the comment section right now and make a statement to yourself and to this community. Type these 4 words: I see my worth. By writing those words, you are making a conscious decision to stop apologizing for your existence and start taking command of your space. You are moving from the shadows and into the light. Stop fading into the background. Stop shrinking when someone looks at you and start claiming the presence that has been yours all along. You've earned the right to be seen, but you have to be the one to do the seeing first. Take that step, own who you are, and I will see you in the next video.